Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Damon.
I'm Lisa.
Welcome to our home in East Hampton.
Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, I'm Damon Liss, an interior designer.
And I'm Lisa Liss, and welcome to our home in East Hampton.
We actually lived about 400 yards away for 15 years. We bought a house when our daughter was just born, our second daughter, and we always loved the neighborhood here in East Hampton. My wife actually found this listing for sale, and it's one of the prettiest streets in East Hampton.
And it's a quick walk to town, and I don't drive, so it works really well for us.
So when Lisa found this house, it was a dilapidated house, needed to be torn down. You know, our interior design firm, we are half interior designers and half interior architects. We are rarely doing the exterior architecture. But on this endeavor, we decided to take it all on ourselves, and we basically did everything in-house: the architecture, the interior architecture, and the interior design.
And Damon's been building homes for clients for years, so it's always been a dream of ours to build a home from scratch together.
It's definitely, when you have unlimited options as far as palettes, as far as style, as far as usage. I mean, simple situations as if, do you want an open kitchen or do you want a closed kitchen? These things weren't all clear to us. There's pros and cons in almost every design decision that you make, so it was challenging. It was definitely something that the more you know sometimes makes it a little more complicated, but we were really excited to go through the entire process together.
Welcome to the foyer of our home. My favorite part about this room is the Joseph Frank wallpaper.
We had fun designing this room. We definitely wanted it to be an exciting moment when you enter the house. The name of the chandelier above us is the Honolulu chandelier. It's by an Italian designer, Lely, from the 1960s. We also put together a composition on the foyer wall here of these Danish floating cabinets, and we reached out to our friend Jorn at J. Lohman Gallery to help custom make these really beautiful pieces by Tori Heiselberg that sit as vessels on each one of these pieces from the Danish cabinet maker. We chose to use the same stone on the inside and the outside of the home. It's called Raymond Gray Gold. It's a type of dense limestone. It works really well both on interiors and exteriors and is perfect for this climate out here in the Hamptons. It took me a while to acclimate to the wallpaper. Lisa wanted us to specify this paper, and I looked at it and it was very strong. We went back and forth, and I'm really happy that she won that discussion.
Something I love just about the light fixture, it looks like colored drinking straws that we use in the morning. I don't know. It's fun and special.
And one other anecdotal fun note is that we found this bench at an antique store in Paris. It was priced too high, so we decided not to purchase it. And then 6 months later, we found it at auction. It had come up to auction, and we were really excited to have the opportunity to purchase it.
The most important thing, I think, to both of us was having the outdoor porch area, so we could make a small house bigger. Well, it's a village street, so we wanted it to feel like the home belonged on the block. And we wanted to be able to spend year-round out here, so we wanted it to feel beachy, but also not too beachy since we'd be coming here throughout the year.
And also, we didn't want a cliche Hamptons house. We wanted something that reflected our, long-term collecting of important mid-century pieces, our love of design. We wanted something that really, resonated with what we've been doing over the past 20 years. We have furniture from all over the world. We've purchased at galleries, at auctions. We have had a personal collection we've been working on for a very long time. It was a lot of fun to be able to implement and pull from that collection to use within our own home.
Right off of our foyer is our kitchen.
For us, it was really important to get the scale of everything here, meaning it's a modest sized house, so having a substantial sized kitchen, dining room, living room, everything laying out. We really, fought for each and every inch in every space to make sure that they worked really well together. Some highlights of the kitchen for us, we worked with our friends at Metrica to come up with a really special finish on all the cabinetry. They're wire brushed oak with a special stain, but if you see, you can actually see the boards. That was something that we worked out with them, and they just do an absolutely terrific job. Another thing that we find really special is the J'adore quartzite. It's a medium green with parts of pink and purple and warm tones that complement the wood and the Raymond Gray Gold limestone really well.
For the stove, we went with Ilve, which is a company based in Italy, and we chose it because we were able to do a custom color.
I wouldn't say that either of us are really the chef in the house. You know, in the Hamptons in the summertime, it's made easy by all the fresh produce. If you see on the counter, we always keep tons of vegetables and fruit and everything around. It makes it very easy to grill, spend time outside, and eat really good quality, healthy food. There was a time that we were dating that I had gone out and bought turbot, the fish from France, and Lisa came home and in her apartment building, she exited the elevator to smell a horrible stench that was all throughout the entire building. And,
Got to our apartment door, opened the door, and found out it was coming from inside from dinner that you prepared.
Yes, we didn't eat that meal.
The jars on the shelves we used on a project probably over 20 years ago, and when the client moved, we had always loved the jars, so we were happy to be able to find a place for them in our home.
We found them at ABC Home a long time ago, and it was just something that we felt like was homey and super appropriate for a decorative object in the Hamptons. The light fixtures are from a longtime friend and collaborator, Lindsay Adelman. Her light fixtures are absolutely spectacular. The delicate pink pearlescent feel of these is really a beautiful tone, especially as it sits above the green toned stone with the warm elements on that as well. We like to be practical. I never want to hear from a client, 3-4 years from now that everything's staining, that everything's a problem, things are chipping. I think that keeping practicality in mind in a kitchen is a must.
It's a small kitchen, so Damon's team, Ligia Pinto, was extremely creative coming up with ways to make the most use of the space. So she did a very clever place for wine storage over here, and then gave us just additional storage in all the little cabinets that are really useful.
And we worked with Ligia to make sure that it had a very craft-like, homey feel. So if you see these routed out, very simple handles, they're very sweet with a soft curve on them. That was a really important detail to us to make it feel a little more inviting and craft-like.
No, we love like the old salt box homes in East Hampton, so we started with that, but we wanted to make it feel a little more updated and contemporary. So details like the door and the window trims were where we tried to make it feel a little fresh while still keeping the old like East Hampton salt box cottage look.
And also, since it's a small lot, there's a challenge to be efficient with the size. So the smaller you build in the footprint, the more land you have. And being that it's only 0.2 acres, it was really important to us to make sure that we maximize the feeling in the backyard. Welcome to our dining room. We are collectors of Brazilian modern furniture. We have a couple really important Brazilian pieces here. The dining table is from one of our favorites, Martin Eisler, who was born in Austria and then moved to Brazil. He owned a company called Forma. This table is really special because it has the cane below the glass, and it's got this really beautiful tropical wood. And the chairs are from who's arguably the Brazilian master of furniture making, Joaquim Tenreiro. We found these through one of our dealers and someone that we've worked with for a lot of years. To come up with these really beautiful, we call them lollipop shapes. They're extremely comfortable, really beautiful, and complement the space well. We tend to find that Brazilian furniture works extremely well in the Hamptons. Lastly, in this little dining area is the Angelo Lely chandelier, the same creator who designed the Honolulu chandelier in the foyer. We're a big fan of his work, and you'll see some of his pieces throughout the space. A gallery, Paul Donzella Gallery, helped us acquire this piece.
This piece came from Demiche Denat. It's a French designer, Pierre Gariche. We love the warm wood, and The artwork above is an artist that I love, Ron Gorchoff. It's just the yellow and the green is so happy, and it ties into the green outside with the lawn. A yellow oil can we found years ago when our first daughter, Lillian, was born, and it was in our original house in East Hampton, and we were happy to find a space for it right here. And then 2 more beautiful pieces of pottery from the J. Lohman Gallery.
For the wood flooring, we wanted something that felt a little soft and grayed out. We reached out to our friends at Dinison, who make a very unique product. It's a wood flooring that have butterflies in their rustic charm holding some of the seams together. It's a pretty unique detail that we think really works beautifully. When we walk into a central foyer, it's connected from the front door and the side door. One is a mud room and one is a more proper foyer. There's Joseph Frank wallpaper that sets the tone. That's vibrant flowers that my wife insisted on having, which was really, I'm really happy that she pushed on that.
I've loved it for years.
And then we walk through the central foyer, and you can go in either direction, one through the kitchen, or the other side we can go through to the living room. Being that it's a small house, it's one main space on the lower floor that connects the kitchen, the living room, the dining room, and the sitting area. What's nice is that whole space in the back opens up with doors that go out to the back patio, which is covered, in which we have a hanging swing, a dining table, and another sitting area. That's really where we spend, a tremendous amount of our time outside here.
And we did heated lamps, so we can use the dining and the seating area year-round.
We love to spend time here, and we love to have friends here. So we have gatherings, but not big gatherings. We consistently have our friends over. We like to barbecue, we like to hang out. We have 2 teenage daughters. So anything to keep them around and keep them happy, we definitely enjoy having them out here.
Some of my favorite pieces in the seating area are the Paulo Buffa chair. It's something we've had in our personal collection for years, and I was super excited that we gave it a spot in our living room. There's also a light fixture by Pavlo Tynell, who's a famous Finnish lighting designer. And this little small sweet side table is by an Italian designer named Borsani. And the color of the glass, it's almost like an ambery orange color, is really warm and beautiful, and we used it in other fabrics throughout the house.
You'll also see that there is a continued collection of some important Italian mid-century pieces. This chair came from a ski resort in Italy by Carlo Molino. Highly collectible, weirdly comfortable for its scale and stature. Like that, this table is from another Italian designer, Ignazio Gardella. We were fortunate enough to get to see the sketch of this table in the original interiors that they did in the 1940s. So it was a lot of fun to see that piece. One other really interesting highlight, we didn't want a TV in the living room, but we did want a TV in the living room. So in order to pull that off, we actually purchased a mirror TV, and we custom designed the frame here on the mirror TV. So during the day, when it's sitting on the wall, it just reads as a mirror. However, you can press a button, turn it on, and it works as a fully operable TV. One really good solution for having the best of both worlds.
And we like to find things when we travel. While we were in Venice, we came upon a store called Chiara Stella, who makes beautiful blankets and fabrics. And this throw over there was found on a trip to Italy.
And we continue to use them and specify them for our clients, for ourselves. It's just been a really wonderful resource.
And the rug is from Fort Street Studio. It's called Flats, and it's a rug that we've just loved for years. Again, it has like soft, beachy colors, almost of sand.
Well, the fireplace, it was important again to get the right stone. When you have unlimited choices of stone to choose from, this is called Jurassico Travertine. It's got a really nice blend of these peachy colors, warm tones, and also balanced with some of the dark charcoals. We wanted something that was interesting, warm, but also timeless. This was a fun part of the process. We definitely went through several iterations. We pushed it so far that we did, I think, 10 or 12 renderings of different beam structures. Do we want big beams, small beams? Do we want wood? Do we want it to be painted? In the end, we found it really important to have the warmth on the ceiling to make it so it's just not a white box in here.
Right behind the seating area is a custom shelf designed by Damon's architectural team.
Some interesting details to note. You have these carved door fronts, which were again executed by Metrica, which is an incredible millwork shop in Northampton, Massachusetts. The team over there is just spectacular. We laminated the back wall with a really soft, warm linen fabric, so it felt very finished and cozy, but we wanted to make sure the backs weren't solid wood, so it felt too heavy in here. I think the balance becomes light, but still finished and beachy at the same time. We have a collection of some vintage and some contemporary pieces. Some of the pieces are contemporary artists. The collection of these brutalist jugs with this really soft ceramic glaze on top right at the mouth of them is one of our favorites. We found them at a French auction house piazza and put together this collection, which we're really excited about. On top of that, there's also a small collection over here of Scandinavian vessels in this really pale, soft yellow and bone white tones that really, continue to show off a palette of softness and certainly a beachy experience.
We're pretty aligned and almost always agree on choices. I feel like once in a while one of us will feel really strongly about something and the other one isn't 100%, and that's where there's compromising. But usually we agree on most decisions.
I don't think there's anything in the home that either one of us didn't want to have or that had to be pushed very hard. Everything was pretty easy. I think both of our design aesthetics are pretty tight. We like similar palettes. We wanted this to be a very soft feeling, warm experience in the home, and we worked together to get there. I'm the unphilosophical designer. For me, it's visual. That it's not about coming together with a concept. It's not about sitting there and imagining something intellectually. It's very visual. So for us, we start with mood boards. We get a sense of what we want to look at. And then we put together presentations, and we like to see how all of these pieces of furniture work together, how they cohesively form, in essence, like a painting. It's, I always use the example to my clients that if you took certain parts out of a painting, what would that look like? It all falls apart. So we really like to study everything in its totality, whether it's the furniture alone, whether it's the fabrics, or whether we're looking at all the materials, the hard surfaces. When we're doing the interior architecture, there's the wood floor color, the stone, the countertops, the wood, the millwork, the design, the overall aesthetic is really important for us to study as one cohesive package.
This is our second seating area, and one of my favorite pieces here is a rare Finial sofa, which I've loved for years.
We also commissioned an artist, Kieran Kinsella, an amazing ceramic artist as well as a wood carver, to custom design these two stools for us. Really special. The chairs also have been in our personal collection for a long time. Like the dining table, they're by the Brazilian furniture maker Martin Eisler. They're really beautiful, from Brazil in the 1960s.
And the art above the sofa is an artist who was a jazz musician before he was an artist, and he was from Chicago, but he spent a tremendous amount of time in Sag Harbor, so it's particularly nice to have it out here.
And another important piece that is a good story for us, the red chandelier hanging in front of the window. We saw this together when we were in one of our favorite furniture galleries, R & Company. And we saw it, we loved it, we didn't have a home for it. And then we started looking 10 years later at our project. We had seen that they still had it in their collection. So I reached out to the owners, and they were generous enough to help us to acquire this really special piece that we really love as an anchoring of this seating area.
On this side, we have a floor lamp by Pierre Ivanovich, and the side table is out of Mexico City, U Studio, a contemporary stone carved piece.
And then on this side, we have a set of nesting tables by Guillaume and Chambron. And then we also found this really beautiful tapestry. It's a fabric piece of art from Piazza as well, the auction house in France. But we love the opportunity to be able to travel and look for pieces, both for ourselves personally, our collection for the office, and for clients. It's not only a hobby, it's a passion, and it's an important part of our business and journey together.
Yeah, and frequently, if there is a design show or an art fair, we'll try to time a trip around that. This is our first floor powder room.
The powder room is off the foyer and right off of the main living room. A few important features to us are the hexagon pink tiles from BDW. They're ungrouted and feel relatively raw but spectacular. What it does here is it has different levels of pink throughout it, which give it a really heathered textured look, which is special. Also in here we have the Wizard Hat, another fixture by Paavo Tynell, the amazing Finnish lighting designer.
The asymmetrical mirror above the sink is from another one of our favorite vendors, Stahl and Band in California.
I went to Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia, where I met Lisa. We met there a long time ago. And then after working in various fields that I wasn't satisfied with, I moved back to New York City, and a friend of mine helped me get an internship for Noel Jeffrey, who was a prominent interior designer on the Upper East Side about 30 years ago. I worked for him for a little bit of time, very, very strong experience. I think part of what my design firm was modeled after was understanding they had architecture in-house, and they also had interior designers, which I thought was a tremendous thing to be able to have control of both sides and really work on developing a cohesive design together. After working for Noel for a little while, I got a job for Kevin Hart, which was a small interior designer in Tribeca, and that's where I really fell in love with both Tribeca and also really had the itch to go out on my own. So after working for Kevin for a little bit of time, Kevin eventually closed the doors to his shop and moved actually out to the Hamptons. At that point, I figured I was probably not really employable and I was a better person served to work on my own projects. So we took a leap of faith and we went out on our own, and that's when Lisa joined me soon after to help in the beginning of my career.
And that's when we were still working out of our apartment on Warren Street. It took a handful of years before we opened a storefront space on Hudson Street in Tribeca, where Damon's office is today.
And I was inspired to get into design really by my father, who was a clothing designer. So I grew up being in his stores on Madison Avenue, working a little bit when I was a kid. I got to see the reams of fabric, I get to meet all the clients, I got to see the client-facing aspect of the business, I got to see the creative side of the business. I think that really got me excited a little bit about being in design. And then soon after I graduated from Emory, I bought an apartment in Atlanta, and we renovated it ourselves and sold it 11 months later and made a tremendous profit on it. That also was a catalyst to kind of really get me excited to continue in the field.
I grew up with parents that were antique collectors, so I grew up on the weekends going to flea markets in Pennsylvania, so it definitely went way back for me as well. Both girls were excited to have the opportunity to have new bedrooms here, since we did their old bedrooms when they were very young. So each girl came up with the color palette they wanted and got to choose bedding and fabric and carpet colors.
And I think that's where the collaboration with our kids ended. They had say on their rooms, and I think that was pretty much all.
Now we're on the second floor, and this is where the bedrooms are. We're going to show you the primary bedroom first.
Welcome to our bedroom. This is our primary bedroom. There are a couple of unique features to us that we have that are very important to us. One thing is the group of mirrors. We have a juxtaposition of the contemporary mirror on the left by a French artist, Alexandre Loger, and on the right is a pair of vintage fixtures from a designer, Lynn Vautrin, from France in the 1960s. A few other notable pieces are the Angelo Lely for Arruda Luce chandelier. It looks a little bit like a weeping willow to us. There's a softness, but still a modern edge to it. We found these contemporary Italian bedside tables by Mario Guittardi, who was an Italian architect. These are from the 1960s. And then one of our favorite vendors also, Paul Donzella, who we got both the Loger mirror from, also provided the Max Ingren sconces that look like portals, we think, from a ship. It definitely has a really beautiful, old, thick, historic glass on them. Lastly, over here on the end, this is by an artist who makes really beautiful craft furniture in Maine called Bicyclette. It's a really interesting way that he uses 3 different woods together. We were fortunate enough to visit him in his studio in Brunswick, Maine, and just incredibly nice person, incredibly well built, and a great person to collaborate with. The other thing here that we really loved is all of the rugs. In all the bedrooms, we entrusted our good friend and amazing artist, Joseph Carini, who makes these incredible carpets. They're 100% silk. He works with us on custom colors, fabrication, patterns, and we actually have a collaboration in the works that we're going to be launching a line of our own rugs with Joseph Carini coming up shortly.
And more fabrics from Chiarostella, the fabric house we found while traveling to Venice, on the window treatments and again on the bolster pillow. All the bedding is from Stella Tribeca and the warm throw at the end of the bed also. We wanted a peaceful vibe in the bedroom, so we chose this coral grass cloth from Holland and Sherry.
That goes along with our important tip for designers is we typically like to have some sort of wall covering or texture on the walls of the bedroom, or something that's a little bit richer or a little bit warmer than the rest of the house to make sure that it feels a little differentiated and also feels warmer and inviting. Welcome to the primary bathroom in our home. We designed it originally with his and her sinks. Somehow that became us sharing one sink and the other one going unused. We also have the custom millwork that we've designed with our team in-house that was made by Metrica. They did a really beautiful job. A few special features are its travertine slabs throughout, which are really spectacular. And then we also have this handcrafted off-white tile from Ann Sachs. One of our other favorite lighting vendors for contemporary light fixtures is Allied Maker in Tribeca. These are really beautiful bronze fixtures from their collection.
To keep the primary suite warm, we continued the wood floors from the bedroom into the vanity area of the bath. And then in the wet area, we changed to a travertine floor. We acquired a vintage finish light fixture to hang above the bathtub. And this was a contemporary Brazilian piece found at Espaço in Tribeca.
And like every important bathroom, to have a soaking tub by the window certainly adds a nice finishing touch. Both of our favorite parts of the home is an item that Lisa actually insisted on buying, and I was hesitant, but I came around, and that was the hanging swing outside of the porch that our friend Thomas Hayes made for us. And it is incredibly comfortable, an amazing place to sit out there, and it's everybody's single favorite spot in the home. I always tell people that there is a fixed cost to do certain things. There's a foundation, there's windows, there's doors. Don't skimp out on the things that everybody sees. For instance, if you're putting in tile in a bathroom, the labor is the same cost, so don't cut the quality of the tile to the point where that's the one thing that everybody sees. The hardware, the tile, the fixtures, the stone, the materials. Definitely make sure that you allocate enough budget to make that stuff really shine. The other thing I find so important is make sure the people that you're surrounding yourself by are people that you're going to enjoy spending the time with. It's a years-long project, and the first thing I do when I interview anybody is talk to them about, are you going to enjoy experiencing this for 3 years? And then on top of that, we're really with people for indefinitely, forever. We help fix problems, we field phone calls. I think putting your team together that you want to spend time with is critical in the overall experience.
At the end of the hallway are the girls' bedrooms. This is our older daughter's bedroom.
We made these bedrooms similar but different. The millwork on both sides, custom closets with really beautiful detailing, chandeliers from Bone Simple. They're wrapped rope, painted and colored, which is really interesting. And then we have these De La Espada beds that we got through the Future Perfect. One of our close friends that we've been working with for so many years at USM Modular, we got these really sweet white nightstands from them with BDW sconces on the end of the bed. When we were up in Brunswick, Maine, looking at the bicyclette furniture for our primary bedroom, we ran into this really incredible artist, Carla Weeks, who we bought a piece from while we were there and hung it in between the two windows here. On this side of the room, we have our custom millwork that acts as a closets and a desk area. The desk chair is also by Martin Eisler, the Brazilian designer that we designed our dining table and the chairs downstairs. This is actually from the same series as the dining table. So in our younger daughter's bedroom, they're basically almost mirror images of each other. Over here we have the custom millwork that's same as the other one. And they both have these dressers that we custom designed with our friend Thomas Hayes out in California that helped us design and build these really incredible pieces.
When designing our younger daughter's room, she had input on the colors, so she wanted a soft green, which we used in the carpets, again from our friend Joe Carini at Carini Lang. One of my favorite pieces in this room are the light fixtures, which are by Hans Jakobsen. We found them at Donzella in New York. Welcome to our favorite part of the house, our covered porch.
We wanted to make several different seating areas. One is dining here right to our right. It sits 8 people. We spend a tremendous amount of time out here in the summer. The in-between area is the little sitting area. Again, we spend a great amount of time. We relax, we read out here. This is really where we spend a lot of our time, as I said. And then my wife's favorite piece, and now my favorite piece, is the hanging swing from Thomas Hayes. It is extraordinarily comfortable, somewhere between a swing, a hammock, and a bed. I encourage everybody to try one of those ones.
The stars were a gift from my dad. They were architectural details used in commercial buildings in New York City.
Most of the outdoor furniture here is from our vendor Catal. We work closely with them on all different pieces. This piece in particular is actually from Espaso. It's the only one that is not from Catal, besides the beautiful swing from Thomas Hayes. We brought on Michael Derrig of Landscape Details to our team to help us design all of the outdoor spaces. He's an incredible landscape designer and landscaper. One of his signature things is a dining alley behind the trees. Since we figured we wouldn't use it much actually for dining, we put a game of cornhole here. It's something that invites the kids in, we have fun, and it's a colorful little element here underneath the trees.
And my favorite part about the dining alley are the fairy lights. I love fairy lights.
In the evening, it lights up magically. You have these lights here and you have all the trees illuminated. It's really a special moment. There needs to be a connection to the personal items in the home. Meaning, furniture can't just be bought by a designer that that doesn't resonate with you. It's not about just putting pieces of furniture in a space that look pretty together. It's layering of things in a composition that you really feel that gravitate to. That make you feel like this is your place, that these are pieces that you want to live with. It seems very clear when clients are active and participate well within the experience that they feel ownership in that experience and it's their home. We're not designing in a vacuum, we're designing for humans, and it's really important to note that each home is specifically designed for them.
For us, like, we've picked the pieces over many years together, so it's fun to look around and see pieces from our first home in East Hampton, and remembering where we were when we got them, and now enjoying them in this home.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.